Here's everything you need to make a batch of pesto genovese, the classic combination of basil, parmesan, pine nuts, and olive oil. And since the word pesto just means paste, really all you have to do is just puree all this together. You can follow a recipe when you're making pesto, but it's just as easy to just wing it. And yours might end up thicker or thinner than mine. It may even taste differently, but it really doesn't matter because as long as you're using a fresh herb, a cheese, a nut, and an oil, you're making pesto. And with ingredients like these, it's guaranteed to taste good. And it's okay to make pesto with both leaves and stems. As long as you're getting rid of the thick, woody stems, you'll be okay. When you're making basil pesto, there's one thing you can do that absolutely guarantees success. Use lots of basil. There's no such thing as too much fresh basil in pesto. A good rule of thumb to follow is to have roughly equal amounts of the 4 different ingredients. Start with that, and then you can always adjust from there if you like. One of the hallmarks of pesto is its simplicity, which means there's no place for an inferior ingredient to hide here, and that's why I'm not just using Parmesan. I'm using grana padano Parmesan, one of the single finest cheeses in the world. This cheese has 1,000 years of history in Italy, and it can really anchor the flavors of pesto. Pine nuts really are nuts from certain species of pine trees, and they're traditionally used in pesto because of their sweet, nutty flavor, but also because they break down so easily. They puree very smoothly in the food processor. Just a cup or so. Olive oil's job is to get the pesto moving in the food processor, but also, of course, to add flavor. So this is a place to use the very best olive oil you have, extra virgin. I look for 2 things when I'm tasting pesto. Are all the ingredients present? Are they all contributing to the flavor? Can you distinguish each one? And secondly, the overall flavor. Is it nice and bright? Does it taste amazing? Does it go well with penne? Penne is my favorite pasta with pesto, mainly because it's hollow. There's lots of places for the sauce to hide. And speaking of the sauce, the best way to form a sauce with pesto is to save some of the pasta cooking water, 1/2 cup. Does that ever look good? And it smells even better, and I just love the way the heat brightens up the pesto. Penne pesto, one of the world's great pasta dishes, and a great way to show off the basic formula for pesto. Because once you understand that all you have to do is puree together a fresh herb, a cheese, a nut, and an oil, you'll have lots of pesto possibilities. In fact, try making another one of my favorite pestos, sage walnut goat's cheese. Basically equal amounts of each of the 4 ingredients. Sage, goat's cheese, walnut, and walnut oil. It's a good place to start, and you can always adjust from there. And it goes really well spread on top of a crispy, crusty crostini. Sage is a very strong flavor, and really that's what pestos are all about anyway, bright, balanced flavors. And there's a lot more to pesto than just basil, sage, or pasta.